ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. Today we continue our discussion on Agni Suttas from sage Vishwamitra. Suktam 3, Jagadi Chanda. Three point 3.1 Vaishwanaraya Prithupajase Vipo. Intelligent men offer gems in the form of knowledge to resplendent Vaishwanara in the sacrifices for moving along the right path. That immortal Agni favors enlightened souls. For that reason only, Vrita never gets defiled. Agni has filled the space, the earth, and also the atmosphere with his luster. Sacrificers make use of that born Agni for benevolent acts. Like a horse, he moves everywhere. Agni is used for preparing food. Thus, people make use of Agni for different purposes. Agni is present in the space as the sun. In the atmosphere, Agni is present as the latent heat of vaporization of water and as sensible heat of air and water vapor. Agni in the form of lightning spreads fast in the atmosphere. 3.2.8 Intelligent men, like the seer of the Sukta, offer praiseful hymns to Agni in a knowledge sacrifice, seeking the right path to truth. Agni favors enlightened souls by showing them the right path, from diversity to unity, or from Vrita to Satya. Because of the enlightened souls, these laws of nature are not neglected by men even today. 3.3.2 Antartuturodasi dasma. Soul of Agni goes between the space and the earth like a graceful messenger. Agni, burning up oblations, becomes a benefactor of man in various ways. He adorns great dwelling places with his physical or gross light rays. As desired by enlightened souls, he enhances their power of intellect. Agni is present between the space and the earth in different forms. Agni, as grass fire, consumes all fuel supplied and helps people in cooking their food and for a variety of purposes. Agni is present in all luminous celestial objects, in the atmosphere and on the earth. As dwelling places, the space, atmosphere and earth are definitely vast and great. Agni activates the minds of enlightened souls also. This point is elaborated in the next 3.3.3. Kedum yajnanam vidathasya. Wise men adore with understanding Agni, who is the symbol of sacrifices and is the means of knowledge. In him, the speech and actions work in harmony. In him, the performer of sacrifice desires to attain joys. Different virtues that are being attributed to Agni is given in this rig also. Such an Agni intelligent men adorn in their hearts for achieving self-knowledge. Pita yajnanam asuro vipashchitam. Agni is the protector of sacrifices, is invigorator of the wise, is ordainer of the earth and other worlds, and instructor of geniuses. Traversing in various ways, he pervades the space and the earth. Friend of all, that wise Agni is being glorified by his praisers through auspicious Vedic hymns. This may not require any additional explanation. 3.3.5 Chandramagnim Chandraratham. Enlightened persons place in this world the delightful, radiant spiritual Agni, whose chariot is radiant like gold, who possesses horse-like power, who is existent in water particles, who is all-knowing, is all-pervading, is quick-moving, is endowed with energy, is the upholder of all. He leads men to prosperity, and he is the leader of men. Intelligent men discovered fire and knew how to control it. They made use of fire for diverse purposes. Agni present in the bodies of born creatures give them energy for all their activities. Most importantly, soul of Agni keeps them alive. 3.6 Agnir Devebhir Manushascha. Atmiya Agni, who accomplishes different forms of sacrifices for enlightened souls who have perfected sacrifices for animals and for the mind of human beings. He is the leader of all, is fast and devoted to all, and is destroyer of diseases. He, Atmiya Agni, goes about everywhere within the universe. Enlightened men meditate on Agni and attain the self by sacrificing their ego. Some other intelligent people praise Agni by Vedic hymns. Others perform gross form of sacrifice with offerings. Of food articles. Agni pervades all bodies in the universe in one form or the other. Next, 3.3.7 Agni Jarasva Swavatya. O Agni, we praise you for prolonged lifespan for our offsprings. Please feed them with nourishing food and feed us with tasteful and desirable good food. O ever watchful performer of sacrifice, Agni, you are the lover of all wise enlightened souls. Enlightened souls meditate on the soul of Agni, the manifested self. That is why Agni is said to love enlightened souls here in this rock. 3.3.8 Vishpadim Yahvamadithim Nara. Leaders of man, for the sake of development, praise Agni, who is the mighty lord of the people. He is venerable like a guest. He is controller of all. He is always desirous of good knowledge on behalf of his praisers. He is prompter of sacrifices and is knower of all born things. Most of the attributes of Agni mentioned here have already been explained before. Intelligent men invoke Agni with Vedic hymns for progress in their search for truth. as he is always generous in giving good knowledge to people who approach him. 3.9 Vibhavadeva Surana Pari. Agni is shining with his rays, is resplendent, is a desirable mood of success in battles. He pervades the whole earth by his vigor. We praise the deeds of the nourisher of multitudes in their homes and worship him with auspicious hymns. Multitudes at their homes may mean being present in many homes in kitchen fire, or pervading the bodies of all born creatures as Vaishvanara or Jఠragni. The seer is remarking that fire gives human beings nourishing and tasty food. 3.10 Vaishvanara Tava Kamanya. O wonderful leader of men, Vaishvanara Agni, I glorify your spiritual force by which you become all-knowing. Agni, manifesting in the form of energy, pervades the space and earth. O Agni, you on your own is the controller of all in this universe. First part is addressed to the spirit of Agni, the manifested self perhaps. Second part refers to gross energy. All movements and activities in this universe are driven by energy, which is a well-known fact. Vaishvanarasya Damsanabhyo 3.11 last trick in the sutta. A self-reliant sage enjoys delight because of similar activities of the leaders of men which confer happiness on all. Agni was born giving delight to the two parents, the space and earth. He is the earth which is abounding in seeds. Vaishvanara confers happiness on all creatures by supplying energy for their sustenance, growth, and all actions. The seer of the sutta enjoys bliss associated with the self. Vaishvanara is a manifestation caused by or ignorance of the self. Agni or energy gives delight to all objects under the sun, including the sun. We go to another Agni Sukta. This is of the Apriya type, conventional Apriya type of a Sukta. This is from sage Vishwamitra Gathina Chandasi Strushtu. Samir Sumana. O shining Agni, as you are being kindled with fuel after fuel, please give us good knowledge and wealth through teaching and preaching. You please bring the enlightened beings for our worship. O friend, favor us graciously like your companions. This is a simple prayer addressed to gross Agni, the fire which shines more and more with fuel and or oblations. A well-burning sacrificial fire, gross or subtle, attracts enlightened souls. Who accomplishes this sacrifice which has sweet oblations? Him Mitra, Varuna, Agni, and other enlightened beings adore 3 times a day, every day. Tanuna path, protector of bodies, Tanuvanapath, can be thought of as Jఠragni, which protects the bodies of born beings. Ghee is an easily combustible fuel which is used for a variety of purposes. Ghee represents an essence of born products. It is being imagined that even the formless shining beings take food 3 times a day, since Tanuvanapath is said to be adored 3 times a day. 3.4.3 Pradidhit Didhitir Vishwavara. May this hymn containing all good things reach the acceptor of sacrifices. It salutes the foremost showerer of happiness. It serves to honor all worship-worthy enlightened beings prompted by us with good food and salutations. This Vedic hymn is truthful and pleasing to hear. This is in honor of Agni, the soul of energy, who is a showerer of happiness to all. In a way, it also honors other enlightened beings with good physical and mental food, or food for thought. 4.4 Urdhvam Gatur. O performer of sacrifice and chief priest, in your sacrifice an exalted praiser has been appointed. Spiritual Agni, the acceptor of oblations, who goes down to earth and her objects, shines in the middle, and the blazing oblations or flames soar high in the atmosphere. The performer of sacrifice, the chief priest, appoint the singer of Sama hymns in this sacrifice. Fire shines in the sacrificial pit with oblations accompanied by the singing of Sama hymns. The bright flames of fire illumines the earth and the atmosphere all around. The same idea is applicable to a spiritual fire also. 4.5 Sapta Hotrani Manasa. Enlightened persons, exalting in their knowledge obtained by following the right path from diversity to unity, which infuses strength in them, attains 7 kinds of sacrificial actions. Grouped by leaders of men, may these shining beings born from earlier sacrifices be associated with this sacrifice. Enlightened men enjoy the bliss associated with the self. They attain that stage following the right path, which infuses strength in them. They go through 7 kinds of sacrificial functions mentioned earlier. May the enlightened beings who have attained that immortal state earlier through sacrifices attend the sacrifice of the seer of Satsupta and associate themselves with it effectively. Bandhamane Ushasa. 3.4.6 As Usha and night personified, dawn and night, appearing one after another, but in different forms, cause happiness with their bodies by smiling at us. So also may Mitra, Varuna, Maruts and Indra delight us by their brightness. 3.4.7 Devya Hodara Prathama. I propitiate 2 chief divine sacrificing priests, putting 7 kinds of oblations. These admirers of eternal laws of nature delight on their own. Such people observe vows. They are brilliant and always accomplish their vows. They say, Agni is embodiment of Vrita. Seer of the Sukta is glorifying 2 divine priests, shining beings, who became identified with the self. They attained that state by sacrificing the 5 sense organs corresponding to the gross body, the mind and ego. They enjoy eternal bliss. They still stick to their vows and proclaim that Agni is only a manifested form of the self. 3.4.8 Bharati Bhi, may men with cultured speech consisting proper words come here to this sacrifice. Earth with enlightened souls and ordinary men, Agni and Saraswati, who is the embodiment of wisdom. Let these 3 shining beings take their seats in this sacrifice. The knowledge sacrifice about to begin. May earth with her inhabitants, spiritual Agni, and deity in charge of wisdom and learning grace this occasion. This is the request of the seer. 3.4.9 Tannasturiva Madha. O resplendent Creator, well pleased with us, may you cause that vigor to flow in us which take us across all miseries and which is inspiring, so that in our family a heroic son may be born who is virtuous, is manly, active, dexterous, and a strong performer of sacrifice, and who desires the company of enlightened souls. This is a prayer addressed to the Creator, who may be Ishvara or the manifested self or Indra, for a son having shining virtues as stated in this rig. 3.4.10 Vanaspade Ava Srijopa, O protector of forests or rays of spiritual light, please let shining attributes flow towards us. Giver of peace, Agni, may set in motion the flow of oblations. The truthful acceptor of noble virtues knows the origin of enlightened souls. He alone performs knowledge sacrifice. Depository of noble virtues can be thought of as the soul of energy or Agni who activates all human beings. He knows the origin of the enlightened source to be the self, since all souls originate there. Agni alone gives energy for all actions, which includes sacrifices also. Last trick in this sukta, this Apriya sukta, is 3.4.11. Yahyagni samidhano. O Agni, may you come before us with your chariot along with Indra and other fast-moving enlightened shining beings. May the mother Aditi along with her sons take their seats in our sacrificial place. May the immortal enlightened beings be pleased with good food and cultured speech. All births are products of ignorance, since birthlessness is knowledge. It is truth. Ignorance personified is Mahamaya, great illusion, who generates Mother Nature. Shining beings are imaginary or subtle entities born from Aditi, Mother Nature. They are being attributed with certain human qualities here. This can be considered as one of the sublime Agni Suktas in Rig Veda. Now, we go to the next Suktam 5, again an Agni Suktam from sage Vishwamitra in Chandas Trushto. Pratyagnir 3.5.1 Sodabhakti, enlightened teacher of truth, follower of the path of the sages, and is follower of the path of the sages, is being awakened at dawn. Kindled by persons desirous of the company of enlightened souls, Agni, resplendent bearer of noble virtues, throws open the doors of the darkness of ignorance that cover the truth. Here, Agni may be treated as grass or spiritual. Fire, the grass Agni, removes darkness of night and makes the physical objects visible. Spiritual Agni, on the other hand, uncover ignorance that cover the self. The three layers of ignorance that cover the self are grass body, subtle body, and causal body. Here in this Rig, spiritual Agni is implied. 3.5.2 Predva Agnir Vavruthe. Predvagnir Vavruthe. The worshipful Varti Agni grows up with fuel supply and with oblations offered, accompanied by chanting of hymns. Agni, messenger of the self, desirer and perceiver of Rita, from the first possessing all-round happiness, shines forth on the onset of dawn. The first part may be taken as referring to grass Agni and the second part to Agni, the soul of energy. He is the messenger of the self in born creatures. Through him, one can perceive truth, reality of birthlessness. Matter makes its appearance on account of ignorance of that self. Dawn could be physical or spiritual. Adhayagnir Manushishu Vikshu 3.5.3 Atmiyagni is a friend of all. He accomplishes his duties peacefully and is stationed within the water particles in the atmosphere. He is established among the human beings on the earth. He is desirable and worship-worthy and sits as a sage. That wise Agni becomes the object of adoration of intelligent persons. Being present in their bodies, Agni or energy is the friend of all born creatures. Energy only activates all bodies. He should be properly taken care of by eating sufficient food. Agni stays in the bodies, unperturbed like a sage. Enlightened men meditate on Agni and realize the self. Mitro Agnir Bhavati 3.5.4 That well-kindled Agni becomes a friend like Mitra, the sun. He becomes an acceptor of sacrifices as a friend like Varuna, remover of sins. This knower of all born creatures becomes a friend of the performer of non-violent sacrifice. He becomes a well-wisher and is like a friend to all. He also becomes a friend of the seas and mountains. Inherently, Drak means that in all objects in this universe, grass are subtle. Agni is present to activate them. Energy is there in the seas, wave energy, tidal energy, etc. Energy is present in the mountains. Example, volcanoes. Energy should be present in the bodies of imaginary gods and of human beings, in the sun, and in all moving celestial bodies. In short, Agni acts as a friend of all animate and inanimate objects of matter. 3.5.5 Padipriyam Ripo Agram. Soul of Agni protects the basic movements of the moving earth. Being great, he protects the path of the sun and protects the sun with 7 heads in the middle of the space. Leading to great happiness, he protects the giver of enjoyment of the enlightened souls. The first part of the Rik essentially means that motion of all celestial bodies is controlled by energy given by Agni. The sun emitting the 7-colored light is Agni. Agni supplies gross energy to the self stationed in the heart space of living creatures. Giver of enjoyment is the self basically. Rubhuschakra Idyam 3.5.6 The great resplendent Agni, knower of all things in the universe, creates praiseworthy, beautiful speech or water. Attentive Agni, like water, protects the honor and skin or body of a person who approaches him. Agni, the soul of energy, being present in all born beings, is said to be knower of all born things in the universe. Energy is necessary for the creation of water as well as of speech. Agni takes care of human bodies so long as he is maintained by taking sufficient food. Now we go to 3.5.7. Most desirable Agni is established in his desirable abode, where much ghee is poured and where devotional hymns are chanted. Agni, shining brilliantly, is pure, is purifier, and is great. He brings new joy again and again to his parents, the space and earth. First part of the Rik refers to sacrificial fire, and the second is applicable to all forms of energy. As such, meaning of the Rik should be quite clear. 3.5.8 Sadyojata Oshadhibhir. As soon as generated, grass Agni is borne aloft by herbs and plants which grow and flourish because of flowing waters. When these beautifying water streams flow down to earth, may Agni, sitting in the lap of his parents, the space and earth, protect us. Fire grows with fuel supplied to it, which is generally parts of plants. Alternately, the Rik may be referring to forest fire. As soon as it is generated, it rises up among the shrubs and then spreads on to larger plants and trees. These plants were nourished before by waters flowing down to earth. The rain is caused by energy of the sun. In one sense, this risk is describing the energy cycle. Sun's energy causes rainwater. It flows down to earth, nourishing the plants. These are consumed by Agni, which is another source of energy and which keeps all born creatures alive and active. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, states Law of Conservation of Energy. 3.5.9 Udu Shtuta Samidha. This great Agni, invoked by us, shines with abundant fuel. He shines nicely in the navel of the earth. His flames rise up in the sky. This Agni acts like a friend. He is praiseworthy, he is benevolent like the air, and is a messenger. May he bring enlightened souls here for the benefit of sacrificers. Agni, the sacrificial fire on the earth, is the same Agni inside the earth. The very same Agni energy is present in the bodies of born beings, and in that way Agni is a friend of all human beings. With the self, Agni moves from one body to another. Rest of the Ruk may not need any elaboration. 3.5.10 Udastambhir Samidha. The mighty Agni rises up in the sky and shines even more brightly when the wind blows to become the best among luminaries. The same bearer of oblations stationed in the cave of the heart was kindled by sages of mature wisdom. Flames of forest fire soar higher in the presence of wind. This is a well-observed fact. The same energy or Agni is present in the cave of the heart along with the witnessing self. Enlightened men came to know or realize that the self is different from gross energy, Agni, that activates the heart. Realizing the self, they enjoy the bliss associated with birthless Brahman. Last Ruk is 3.5.11 Ilamagne Purudam Samsanim Go. This is the same Ruk as 3.1.23. With this we finish today's discussions. Viramastavat.